Oh, I'm late. Hello, my name is Adrian Campbell. Welcome to my 10-minute video, which will be about how editing has developed and about the principles of film editing. Hope you enjoy. Thomas Edison was an American inventor and businessman who developed the equipment needed for moving pictures. This was called the kinetograph and was invented in the year 1897. Edwin Porter and Thomas Edison worked together to produce longer films. The Lumiere brothers were the first filmmakers in history, where they would produce numerous short films that were one long and taken a lockdown shot. Their first film was Sortie de Louisiane, Lumiere de Lyon, shot in 1895, which is considered the first true motion picture movie. Next, Edwin Porter. Edwin Porter was an American film pioneer. He worked for Thomas Edison. He was famous as a producer and cinematographer with the Edison Manufacturing Company and the famous Players Film Company. He discovered that putting separate film clips together could produce a story. This will make the audience feel an emotional response or feel engaged from watching the movie. Porter created many films such as The Life of American Fireman in 1903. The film was among the first films that had a plot, action, and even a close-up. And The Great Train Robbery in 1903. This film is an excellent example of how early films began to resemble the types of film we see today. The US film director Griffith was one of the early pioneers to use editing techniques in the production of feature-length films. He made use of cross-cutting to show parallel action in different locations. Griffith helped to develop the art of storytelling through editing. Griffith, Porter, and Path were very popular in using the technique, the art of splicing of individual shots together in order to make longer, more dramatic films. One of his films he directed was The Birth of a Nation in 1915. G.A. Smith was a British film pioneer who was famous for the technique of using shots from different locations and the development of filmmaking from single short films. His short films from 1897 to 1903 pioneered film editing and close-ups, and his development of the first successful color film process. In 1899, he made the film A Kiss in the Tunnel. In 1924, Ivan Syria, something like that, invented the Movula machine. This was the first machine used for motion picture editing. This was used to allow film editors to see the film during editing. The company Movula still exists and which is located in Hollywood. Take a few seconds to look at the timeline of the key events from the year 1862 to the present time. There are many developments you need to know for film editing. In camera editing is where a cinematographer shoots the shots into a sequence in the exact order that they will be viewed. An example of video clip is, you can see the different shots taking place in chronological order. Take for instance, when the guy opens the shutter, then we see the light turning on. This makes us see what the guy works as a living. Next, following the action. When there is a scene, for example, a car chase, a person running after another person, the camera needs to be able to move. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Next, multiple points of view is where something is happening in a scene involving numerous characters. The scene will show what is happening with one character, and then the camera will cut to another character, and so on. This is shown through the YouTube clip. As you can see, there are many cameras being used in the scene in order to show the different characters and what is happening to them. Next, Shot variation is used to create a sequence of images using movement. These types of shots include a wide shot, as this is a shot is commonly used at the beginning of a sequence to set the tone of the scene. This is demonstrated through this clip. Next, multiplication of diegetic time and space is when the editor changes the speed of the film to show the audience a long period of time into a relative short period of time. It allows the editor to add more footage into the film as it's shortened down what would have been a long piece of film, showing the days, weeks of training day by day. This is shown through these two clips. Film editing is a crucial part of creative post-production process of filmmaking. The term film editing involves the use of digital technology. An example that shows this is this clip. Video. Video is a sequence of images managed electronically into an analog or digital format. The images are presented on a screen to create the illusion of motion and continuity. Video editing includes cutting segments, trimming, resequencing clips, and adding transitions and other special effects. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Video editing is also much quicker and therefore cheaper. Next, analog editing is made up of images printed onto acetate negatives and is a cutting together of pieces of celluloid film. This is exemplified through this clip. Next, digital editing is where data is stored in digital form and is the use of computers to manipulate the digital data. There are many different editing programs such as Adobe Premiere and Final Cut Pro. The whole process is electronic, so there is no printing or splicing involved. Also, you can edit digitally in any order. Here is an example of a video clip. Film research of the purposes of film editing. The purpose of editing is to sequence your clips in order and produce a film the way you want your product to be like. When editing, you'll be able to know how you're supposed to feel about the events and the characters at any given time and make changes if required. Storytelling, engaging the viewer, is the events in moving images that tells a narrative to involve the viewers. For example, creating an emotional response. This can help the viewer to feel immersed in the film and engage. This is shown through this clip. Storytelling, development of drama, is the progress of the events taking place in a specific genre. The editing would help to enhance the story of the film. An example that shows this is this clip. Storytelling, relationship to genre, is where the soundtrack, camera shots, and the characters involved in the movie all help to establish the category of the film. An example that shows this is this clip. Next, storytelling, creating motivation, is where the characters involved are defined and the characters help to push the story along. An example of a video clip is this. Combining shots into sequences is the process of putting shots together and making them all flow into each other to make an entire movie. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Creating pace is where a film speeds up or slows down certain parts of the film. It is where pace changes the way that audiences view films and make them understand in different ways. An example of films that would use a fast pace would be an action film. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Film research of the film editing conventions and techniques. Seamless is the cuts between the shots are matched to the action on the screen. D.W. Griffiths usually use this technique. With the seamless editing, it makes you watch something and not even realize that it's being edited. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Next, continuity is a system that focuses on producing a clear continuity for the final piece that you have produced. It is used to create a smooth flow between all of the clips, so the narrative of the story will be obvious without interruptions or problems. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Motivate is when the scene cuts to another scene or object that was not in the previous frame. It is usually used in horror films. For example, when a woman is standing in a spooky place all alone and then hears a startling sound. Suddenly, she spins her head around and sees nothing. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Next, montage. The shots are taken in an often fast-paced fashion that compresses time and conveys a lot of information in a relatively short period. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Jump cutting is a transition between two shots which seems to jump from one spot to the other without continuity. This is due to the way the shots are formed in relation to each other. An example of a video clip is parallel editing. Two or more scenes that often happen at the same time but in different locations. Here is an example of a video clip. 180-degree rule. The camera can't move more than half a circle around the characters. The camera has to stay on one side of that line, so not to confuse the viewer. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Splicing means the editing of moving pictures forms the basis of all video editing. Film is edited by cutting sections of film and rearranging them to make a sequence. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Transition, cut, means replacing one shot immediately with the next shot. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Transition, dissolve, happens when one shot gradually replaces by the next. For a few seconds, they overlap, and both are visible. This is commonly used to signify the passage of time. This is shown through the YouTube clips. Transition, fade. Fade outs happen when the ending picture is gradually replaced by a black screen or any solid color to show that the movie has finished. Fade-ins happen when the screen turns from being black or of a color, then gradually gives way to the picture. It is commonly used in the beginning of movies to indicate that the movie is starting. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Transition, wipe. They happen when one shot pushes the other off frame. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Cutaways is to fill in the gaps in order to solve continuity problems, such as jump cuts. Here is an example of a video clip. Point of view shot is when the camera is shown what the character is looking at. Here is an example of a video clip. Shot reverse shot is when one character is shown talking to another character, usually not in the same shot, and then the other character is shown looking back at the first character. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Providing and withholding information is when you try making the narrative more dramatic by giving the audience more information or taking away information. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Editing rhythm is what editors use to keep pace of the film up to match of the action that is going on in the film. Slow cuts have a calm feel, and whereas quick cuts have a lively, aggressive feel. This is shown through the YouTube clip. Cross-cutting. Two or more scenes that often happen simultaneously but in different locations. An example of video clip is. Lastly but not least, cutting to soundtrack. Editing to the soundtrack is when the pace of the cuts are motivated by how fast the music is. Here is an example of video clip. Overall, this video was produced to help you to understand the different editing techniques, to know some of the pioneers of film editing, have an idea of how film editing was done in the beginning, know how important editing is to film, and how film editing has developed in the way we edit now. Thank you for watching. My name is Adrian Campbell. Thank you.